Hello world, Nikolai here from Lanti Labs with an interesting video today. I think I'm going to make a video series on this. So for all of you who are very patiently waiting for your fan expansions, I wanted to do something special just so I can walk you through the process, explain some of the changes, and hopefully alleviate all the pain from having to wait for all that cool stuff that I'm also personally excited for myself. I mean, and I've been, talking to myself about all this, and it's just that doesn't feel fair to share to keep this to myself. So let me explain, maybe starting first with a video on the boxes. And the major reason I had to sort of make like you can say a production change is so I can make more of these in a way that's actually sustainable for myself and for the whole community, and to protect the value and make it a resellable, and just make it into a really cool product. And so the box was really essential part of that. And so let me walk you through how I used to make the boxes until now, and then what part of the process will remain for the next set of batches and what's changed. And so starting off, we have this material. It's called a craft paper. Exact weight is 216 grams. It's sort of like textured on one side and flat on the other. I'm keeping the texture side on the inside, on the side that it's actually getting glued, and the flat part is on the outside. And so for the first part of the process, I get to print these on a A4 size paper. I just had a lot of paper like that, so that's why I use this specific process. And so printing this is step one. Step two is to use some sort of like a blunt edge to create all the crevices all around. This is all done manually. Step three will be to cut this, and I don't have a machine, so I had to cut all these by hand. And of course there's two pieces. The color doesn't matter since they're getting wrapped, but I try to keep separate colors, one for the bottom, one for the top, just to, don't get mixed up somewhere. And so cutting these by hand, again with just a crafting knife or something similar, takes a while. The next step will be to fold them. This is again done by hand till I get all the folds right. And when everything is ready and folded, I proceed to glue them, starting typically with this part. It gets wrapped like that. Maybe I can just show you. Since technically you can completely wrap them up without gluing them. The design is such. Okay, so we do this corner, we do this corner, we do this corner, and finally we do this corner, and you get a sense. So this is what the box will look like once it's fully like closed. And of course the paper glue I'm using, it's like a dry glue, makes it stronger once it completely dries, and that's part of the process. There's actually a small piece in the middle. If you notice here, you see the square piece here. I try to use whatever is left of the paper to fill this piece, so there are two layers everywhere. And so this is taking actually a little bit of time, but it does get really flat on the bottom. There's no edges. So this is actually a new process I started more recently, and all the people who have the last batch have this boxes done like this. So I do this for the top, and I do this for the bottom. And of course this takes a while. It's all manually done by me. All right, so we got these guys glued up nice, and then I usually leave them for 24 hours just to dry up nicely. Although if I really need done something in emergency, I could dry them in the microwave oven, but you have to be really careful, like 10-15 seconds, and then you have to make sure they haven't like completely disintegrated or just folded in a way. So you have to be careful if you use the microwave. for that process. Of course, then there is a quality test. I make sure they fit together. I sort of like blend the edges here and there if there's anything. But in general, like I make sure they sort of come together. And finally, of course, there's actually 2 more steps. There's a wrapping step, and this is what you put on the top that actually makes the box. And here's what it looks like before I put it. So I have two separate materials. This is the one where the white part sort of shines, and it's really cool effect, but the quality of the print is not the highest possible. It's still very readable. You can absolutely get everything, but if you're printing on a completely flat, this is sort of like a little bit like textured. It's very nice to feel, but it's not completely flat, and so the printing quality is like maybe, let's say, 250 dots per inch. It's not 300, but it's great. But if you are going after DPI, then you have to really go to a flat, sort of like a flat. And so this is the final effect. If we have the box here, here's what it looks like. It's pretty cool. So this totally works. It's doable. You can do boxes like that. So what's the problem? The problem is that it takes more than an hour to do all the steps, and that's just for one box, right? And that is if you are sort of in a rhythm and you do them like a series, in like a small production line, and I do all this at home. So making these by hand, it's nice and cool, and quality is high, but it's just not sustainable. And that is 1 hour is simply the physical labor just to assemble them. I'm not counting time for printing, for getting paper, for going to the printer to collect materials, all that other miscellaneous stuff. That's just a physical. If you have everything in front of you and you have to assemble a box, how quickly can you do it? It's 1 hour for both pieces. And of course, that doesn't include drying time. So that is the main reason I wanted to switch to a different process, just to make this less labor intensive for me, so I can actually do life in general. Right, so the other thing is, so let's go back here to maybe an image, is there were 4 boxes filled with fat expansion. So we have the first one, which had Galactic Struggle, and I actually managed to fit in another small expansion, which was called what was it? It was number 11, and the name escapes me, but it had to do with a little bit of Andor stuff. Oh yeah, Energy Initiative. Okay, so Energy Initiative and Galactic Struggle were in box 1. Then box 2 we have Wider Front Lines and Power of the Will. And then for box 3, we only had the Dawn of the Rebels. And for box 4, we have 4 expansions. They're different sizes, but that's basically everything here. Now, I was able to standardize box 2, 3, and 4 to the same size. So they were exactly the same size. The issue is box 1 was still the first one I made, and that was a little bit thinner. It was the same width and length, but the height was different. And so ideally, before I commit to any other production process for the boxes, I had to have all these be exactly the same. Otherwise, it's impossible. You really have to have some sort of quantity to be able to have somebody make this for you at a reasonable price. And so that's the other change that I needed to make. I needed to find a way to provide content in this box that will make it exactly the same size as the other ones. And so I have done that, but that's not the topic of today's video. So this is the first box made from an entirely new production process. So I haven't made this by hand. I have only completed 3 of the 10 steps. So the steps were print, creating crevices, cutting, folding, gluing, drying, wrapping, testing, packaging, and sealing. And sealing, I mean, I have like a plastic seal at the top when everything is packaged. So this box was created in a factory, which the only thing I did here is once I received it, I wrapped it up with that. And so I have a choice of two materials. I've been testing different materials. So this is the one that I visually prefer, but this is the one that is sort of a little bit higher, you could say DPI, and I'm not really sure which one to use. I'm maybe leaning towards the other one because this one is like too smooth and feels more like an average quality. The other one feels more like premium, but this one has a little bit higher print quality. The colors look a bit true, more true than the other one. So it's really difficult to decide. But otherwise, the build quality for this box, so with this one, the sides, you can see how fiddle they are. Like they are okay, but they are thin. So they're like maybe under millimeter, whereas these ones, they're like 1.3 millimeters thick. So it's a really sort of hard box. So the interior volume is the same in terms of width and height. Like obviously the depth is different. But because of the sides are thicker, the whole thing is a bit thicker. So it's a bit bigger. It's not much, but you can, if you put them side by side, you can see like a few millimeters here and there. But otherwise, the boxes are the same. They're just made from a thicker material. And of course, if you have something heavy on the inside, it will completely open all by itself. It's like an Apple product. Like it will just... And you hear like the sound of air and compression and everything. And so I just wanted to test whether this will actually do this because the previous boxes, they were very tight. And it's not that I couldn't make them looser, it's just achieving this, I just didn't want to make them by hand, that's it. And so I switched to a harder box, higher quality, much more sturdy, and they will all be made to the same size. So all expansions will use the exact same size of the box. Now, there's a little secret. There is a really specific reason behind the height and sizes of these boxes. And I'm going to reveal that in another video, maybe in a year or so, but maybe hopefully less. But I'm making these size for a very, very specific reason. It's not just that everything fits inside nicely, there is another one. But let's go over another change that will happen. So originally, for this expansion, because it fit the expansion exactly, the box was sort of branded after the expansion. There's one thing here, all the branding is related to it. But I've just started to switch to fitting more content, and there's usually more than one expansion in the box now. So like say this one, we will separate the artwork halfway through, will be the artwork for one expansion, the other one will put for the other one, same on the back. And so I'm going to make these artworks look just a little bit more representative of what's actually inside. I'm not just going to say here there is another expansion, but it will just be themed appropriately. Also, when you open it, here, this text is not just going to be about one of them, it's going to explain every single expansion that's inside. So there will be like a flavor text, or just so you can get an idea, okay, what this is about, and you'll get an idea. So yeah, new material, there will be a new seal on the top, just trying to figure out between two materials. Some changes on the artwork, otherwise a really high quality box for the next set. And so yeah, that's it. But if you're curious, I just wanted to show you something. So once I started making this, here's how it looks like. It looks like production hell. I have a whole bunch of boxes that I have to make by hand and glue and everything and wrap them, and Wrapping part is actually okay, I can do that, but over an hour on each box, it just makes this impossible to make enough of this for everyone that wants one. And so that's the reason for changing the production process on the boxes. Now, in the next video, what I hope to show you is, let me show you, I'm doing some sort of like a certification for each box. So this will be the certified number and size of components for box 1. And we can go over them in the next video. This is for number 2, number 3, and number 4. So once I have the design for the outset, for the outside of each box, I'm going to create a separate video. We're gonna go over the components. Not everything, because each box will have one secret thing that I'm not going to show you no matter what, and you'll get to see when you receive your boxes. But otherwise, I will tell you how many new cards, how many new components in general. We'll do something like that just so you can get an idea. And for those that are creating and publishing on Board Game Geek, we can do a visual overview as well. So that's the plan. So hopefully next week I'll have another video for you guys. And if this is of value to you, just, put a note in the comment, let me know. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and till the next video.